Assalamu alaikum viewers. Welcome to the North American Muslim Foundation's senior talk show funded by the New Horizons for Seniors. On our show for today, we have Aisha Alam, a well-known personality in the community. She has been supporting refugees, newcomers, matrimonial services and programming. She's a well-known person within the community and she always renders her hand to help no matter what the time is. Give her a call at 10 p.m. and she's ready to help you. So once again, welcome to the talk show. Welcome to the talk show, Aisha. It is so good to have you here on our show today.
Assalamu alaikum, Saida.
Walaikum salam.
I am very thankful that you called me in this program, and I hope that people will be happy to hear me, whatever I have done in my life.
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm very happy. I saw the other interviews also, and many people have done so much work here. So I don't mind telling you.
Contributing.
Yes. So this is okay,
to the show.
mashallah.
Thank you. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad that we invited you because we would like to know your history, the life that you have spent here in Canada, and the work and the services that you have been doing. So we'll start off with our very first question that we ask to all our guests. How come you landed in Canada?
Yes, it is a long, very long story, but I'll cut it short. I was born in India, Hyderabad, then migrated to Pakistan, and then from there, I got married when I was just 19, came to England because my husband got his scholarship in PhD and we had to study there. So just 15 days, just after 15 days of my marriage, I married my teacher at University of Toronto, and then we moved to England. And that's how I started my married life. But migrating means I did 4 times. Then from there I came to Canada after 11 years. So we both were busy there in England, working at the University of Glasgow. And then we decided, so we came to Canada, England for studies, but then we came to Canada for better opportunities, the land of opportunities.
That's true.
And that's how my brother-in-law sponsored us here in Canada. And that's how we landed in Toronto in 1977.
How did you create this interest to get into the social services sector to help the people? When and how did it start?
I think it was in me because I saw my mother. She was a very strong lady. Mashallah, she looked after 7 children, and the 8th one was to be born when my father died. And that strong lady, she was so brave and she was really very God-fearing woman. And I saw she was my role model. And that's how I realized that it is in me that I have to help people. She always used to help people no matter what, day and night. And this is how I learned. And when I came to England, I helped so many people there as well. And but the best part which I did in my life is in Canada.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So we'll hear a little bit more about it. So the next question to you would probably be, do you utilize the medical services here in Canada? If so, what? As a senior, I know during your young age, you do not need to visit the doctor as much.
Yes.
But as you age, you need to frequently have your appointments, your regular appointments, and see the doctor. So what are the gaps in our medical services that we can improvise?
I notice it more now after this COVID-19 started, because things were really happening in this medical services for many seniors, because I was very kind of lucky that we both, my husband and myself, we are very much aware of the medical system and everything. So we took care of it and with the time and everything. But many of these seniors, they face a lot of problems. And the waiting time, the doctor's negligence, and especially for the medication. What happens that many of the doctors, they just give the medication depending what they are feeling. They don't see the what do you say, the outcome of it,
Yes.
that what are the what do you call
Consequences
the
after taking the
yes, medication. So this is mainly I notice with many seniors, people who don't know much about it. And recently what happened that, because I've been in the system so much, because I was in cancer research, and I've seen many patients going with the lungs and all that, with the lung cancer, and I noticed that many of our doctors, they just decide to give the patient whatever they feel like. They don't understand, especially when we are at this age, that we become a little kind of choosy. And so many people, they don't like taking the medication. When they see the effects are so bad, they just try to avoid taking it. But during the COVID system, I had very much trouble with the doctors. I mean, my husband, he had kidney cancer, and after that, doctor was supposed to do the follow-up. And we had to phone, we had to check with the nurses and everything, and they said the doctor will be phoning you and all that. And so many times we had problem with that. So facing this, when I'm a very strong person, I'm familiar with all the system. But imagine the other people who can't even take the phone, they can't even do
they
stuff.
can't even dial, they
and
can't even
sometimes,
contact.
yes, and this has been happening.
Yeah, I did hear the same comment from the other people as well, because during the COVID time, they said that most of the doctors were unable to give the calls back, return their calls back, and they did face a lot of challenge at that time. And like everybody else, these were another challenges that were erupting during that COVID period. But hope so things improve in the later stages.
But on the other hand, we are very lucky compared to the other countries,
Yes,
we have the system, it is for free.
Yeah.
And we have got all this tests are done free of charge.
Yes.
And when you go to other countries, you realize that you have been, completely you go bankrupt because of all this. So we should be thankful.
No, we are. And
yes.
most of them, even me, when I was researching to migrate to different countries across the globe, then I said, wow, medical system here is taken care of. So I found, that's a peace of mind for any person, especially as you age, you depend more on the medical services and you require more of them.
Yes.
So then why not go to a country which is a beautiful country, which you are working hard all your life, and then you're reaping the harvest at the end of your life, right?
That's right.
No, we are thankful. We are thankful to the medical services.
When I compare this with England also, because England had the medical system for free for us too, at that point. But now I think this is different. Because I lived in those countries, and then I was very much familiar with the system outside from Pakistan. But still there are so many flaws in the system.
Right.
We have to correct it, and we have to approach to the government.
Yes.
We have to make noise.
Yeah.
And if you don't make noise, nobody will do anything for you.
And this is exactly why we have this program. This program is for us to identify the gaps within the services, so we can report this to the government so that they can look into this matter and improvise their services for us.
Right, very true.
During COVID, I know it was a very difficult time for all of us. As a senior, how did it affect you, and how did you try to cope up with that silence?
Well, see what happened just before the start of the COVID, I had a stroke, very mild stroke. It was not very bad, but it affected me a lot. I've been a very active person. And I realized that I was becoming very weak, and also I was kind of scared going out on my own. And then COVID started. And after that I realized that, well, all my activities were just stopped because of that. And at the same time, I couldn't sit at home, and I had to do something. And all these things, like I have been doing all these services on the phone. I have been talking to people, I've been arranging for the jobs for the people, whoever wanted some home help or something like that. And also I've been talking to some of the seniors who were really homesick, who were really very, very in a bad situation, that they had no children and they had nobody to go to, and this is something really bad. And they don't know how to go on the Zoom program or anything like that.
Yes.
And I talked to, what I did, that when I was doing my seniors program, I just tried to call one person, if not every day, once a week. One person. And then I realized that many of the people are so really lonely. And I was lucky to have my husband, my family with me. We didn't go out anywhere. I live with my daughter, but my other children were also helping us. But still, when I compared myself, I was lucky that I was able to do these things.
You became a service provider, providing all those services, following up on those individuals who are living alone. And another thing what I found in the community was people played a very active role. Most of the individuals who could use their mobile phones, who could use their WhatsApp, they played a very active role in creating small groups and speaking to each other in the morning saying, okay, we are fine.
Right.
It was a good morning from each and everyone on the WhatsApp groups to know that yes, we are doing fine, especially with the individuals who are living alone. Bravo, that was a great job. that
Yeah,
y'all
but
did.
at the same time, many people, because I've been doing matrimonial services, that.
Yes.
And many of the people try to approach, and I said, now there is no way that I can see you face by face.
Yes.
The only thing is you can send the pictures and all that. But these things doesn't happen that much, because people want to see you.
Yeah, no,
people
they
want,
need.
and you have to convince them
Yeah.
that this person is good and all that.
Yes.
Sometimes you need a third party to tell them that.
True.
And people are very choosy nowadays. But
Yeah.
I help them a lot in that one as
Yeah.
well. And also my children, my like I appreciate that how they looked after me, because many of the times when we had to go to the doctor and there is nobody there, so
Yes.
they just wanted to take me. But usually we take the wheel trans, and we go by wheel trans,
Yeah.
take all of our appointments with them. So wheel trans in a way it is very good.
Yeah, I'm
for the
coming to
seniors.
that question, but before that, I would like to touch upon the isolation question.
Yes,
Since
I will
you
tell
have
you
been
one
living,
more.
yeah, since you are living in the community, and since you come across people who live alone, and since you help them as a service provider, what do you think we should do to improvise the services to these individuals to avoid isolation?
I noticed that some of our organizations were sending them food, and they were also, some of the people, they went to their houses and talked to them. I noticed that many of the leaders, our community leaders, they
yeah.
went and attend to their houses, but at the same time, they definitely need somebody. One lady, there is a big example of that her husband is a blind person, and she was looking after him. That day when I phoned her, like I was sweating.
Yeah.
Because she was crying, she was screaming that
She went
I'm
into
having
depression.
nervous. Yes, and I called my daughter. I called another person. I put everybody on the line,
Yeah.
and I said, please talk to her because I'm getting sick
Yeah.
because of that. And I just completely, I didn't leave her.
Yeah.
Every second day I was phoning her,
Yeah.
and thank God now I realized that now after 2 years she is in a better shape.
Yeah.
Because I told her to go to some other seniors home or something so that you can take your husband. It's not only you. But for poor girl, the only thing is they just send a PSW
Yeah.
just for 1 hour.
Yes.
What is going to help?
No,
How?
PSWs too. In 1 hour, they will not even know anything. But PSWs are there only to do and help them with their physical work.
Exactly.
But you need counselors
Yes.
to help them with their depression or with their counseling. This extremely, people like them need extra care and extra time.
But unfortunately, there's no TLC there, no tender love and care on the phone.
Yeah.
You just have to tell them, please calm down, please do
Yeah.
this. Unless you touch them, you hug them, you tell them
Yeah,
what's
so that's
happening.
that's a gap. That's a huge gap where you need people and professional counselors to counsel these people at home because they are the ones who don't want to come out of the house.
Yes.
They don't want to. Normal people come out.
And the old people are just like children, just like a
Yes,
small
they are
child.
small children.
They need pampering.
Yes.
And
yes.
this you can't give like that,
Yeah.
you know.
see, because they have been pampering children, grandchildren all their life. So now at that age, they would also expect a bit of pampering.
Yeah, this is very sad.
Coming to physical and mental health, how do you balance your physical and mental? I know that you have been a service provider within the community, so that is part of your balancing act. But what do you do for your self-care?
See, I just do a little, very little exercise, not much. You know, that I should tell you. But I'm always active.
Okay.
And that only 2 days ago, I was talking to my friend and I said, I provide home help for people. But I said for myself, I would like to do the cleaning by myself.
Yeah.
You know why? It keeps you active.
Yes.
And this is how, if you are able to do it, just do it. I'm in this June, I'm 75 years old. And still I feel that I should do something. I feel weak because after the stroke I feel very weak.
Yeah.
But when I'm tired, I'll just take some rest.
Yeah.
But at the same time, our people should do something. I started going for walks, but doctor said I shouldn't take the risk because, you know, I'm not as strong
Yes.
in walking. So, and other things are that people should, you know, do some creative work.
Yeah.
Like I really like when people are doing something, you know, like that, but I'm not very good at that. I will do cooking, I'll do all these kind of things.
So there's your creativity in cooking.
Oh yeah, I love cooking. Yes.
Yeah, that's a therapy too. Cooking is a therapy too.
My husband is very good in baking, so, you know, every now and then I help him. Only when he'll hear this, he'll say, when did you help me? but I do.
That's good. That's good. Thank you. Thank you for giving those, tips to the others so that they can utilize their creativity at their own time for their mental health. This is also to calm yourself down. Baking calms you down, cooking calms you down, and cleaning. Maybe it may not work for everyone, but for
Yes.
the ones, if it works, then well and good.
But I'll tell you, Sarita,
Yeah.
I'm a people's person, and
Yeah.
it gives me some kind of satisfaction when I talk to them.
Yes.
It gives me energy.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And
whatever
that's the
you do,
reason
whatever
work
you
with
feel
people.
happy.
If you are a people's person, that's a reason you can give yourself more time to the community. Now, coming back to the Wheel-Trans, we would like to know if there are any gaps in the services for the Wheel-Trans.
There are two main points I would like to mention. The thing is that most of the seniors in our community,
Yeah.
Muslim seniors, they are not able to go online.
Yeah.
If you don't go online, then the waiting period is long. The waiting time is long.
Yeah, they don't know how to apply for Wheel-Trans. They don't know how to apply, how
Apply,
to use
yes. If
the
they say
application.
if you do online, it is much better. So it is up to them. Sometimes their children help them
Yeah.
for going online. But if you do on phone, then you are sitting there. But there is a facility. We should appreciate that. We are
Okay.
getting it for very little money for that. It comes in, but sometimes the waiting time is more than an hour,
Okay.
and it is very difficult. So some people live in the apartment. When they come downstairs, sitting there
Yes.
in the cold and all that,
Yeah, and they're
sometimes
sitting
they are in
alone.
the
The
programs.
only thing is they're
Yes.
sitting alone waiting for the Wheel-Trans. I know, especially when we see people when you're doing programming, the program ends, the program coordinator or the facilitator has to leave the premises,
Yes.
and you see one senior sitting alone there, and anything could happen to that person when that person
It
is
happened
sitting
with
alone.
me so many times.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the other person to leave till we leave,
Yeah.
because they are waiting for the Wheel-Trans.
For the Wheel-Trans.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is one very big drawback.
Drawback. Yeah.
And otherwise, the service is good. Some of
Yes.
the drivers are not really very happy with you, but
Okay.
it's okay. Everybody is just different.
But at least the service is provided. So try to utilize the service. Ladies and gentlemen, you do have an application online, especially for the Wheel-Trans. If you are unable to do it yourself, please try to contact your nearest organization. There are a lot of facilities for seniors, and each and every organization is trying to improvise on these facilities. So please do contact them. And thank you once again, Aisha Alam, for being here for this wonderful talk, and we truly appreciate all the services that you do to the community. Once again, thank you all for joining the Senior Talk Show funded by the New Horizons for Seniors. On behalf of the North American Muslim Foundation, your host, Sajida Khan. Stay tuned for our next guest. Allah Hafiz.